Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Shaka Hislop, Stevie Nicol, and if that wasn't enough, we welcome from the French capital, Frank Leboeuf joins us as well. Now, I know this isn't really what TV presenters should say, but if you're a Tottenham Hotspur fan, don't watch this show because this is going to be absolutely miserable. Because yesterday we reported that Eze looked like he'd be heading, of course, to Spurs. However, suggestions are in England now that over the last couple of hours, Arsenal have come in and hijacked the deal, and Eze could be heading to the Emirates and not the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Stevie, what a coup this is, isn't it, for Arsenal?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I would like to think that Eze's always known that there might be some sort of interest for Arsenal. I thought the problem for Arsenal was that they weren't sure they had enough money after all the money they've spent. But I'm pretty certain that Eze would have known that there was some interest in Arsenal. And having not known exactly, then he's going to go along with the Spurs thing. And for him,
Stevie,
Spurs would have been a good move.
This wasn't the answer I was expecting from you.
Yeah. Well,
I thought we were going to say, yes, this is brilliant for Arsenal. This really puts them in the title race now.
Well, I was coming...
We're not like, oh, I'll see, you know...
No, it is great for Arsenal. It is great for Arsenal, absolutely.
Right, is this because it's bad for Liverpool? Shaka, this is great, isn't it, for Arsenal?
Absolutely, it is great for him. Absolutely, it is.
Thank you.
Well,
right.
hold on a second. You were coming from a Tottenham point of view.
No, I was saying, what a coup this is for Arsenal was the point that I made, and then you went mumbling on about something.
You started off talking about Spurs.
Yes, but then you've got to listen to the
I was coming from a Spurs angle.
Look, Eleanor's right, you don't listen. Right.
Well,
okay. I'm not sure where to start.
This is brilliant for Arsenal, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And listen, while Arsenal were linked with Eze earlier in the summer, it seemed as though, to Stevie's point, maybe Arsenal interest cooled because they spent a lot of money this summer as it is. And one thing Arsenal do is run their business well. So they kind of allowed Eze to get away. And then the Kai Havertz injury, and there is a need to fill. I think Eze adds to Arsenal in ways that I don't think anybody else on that roster does. Just in terms of creativity, in terms of option, in that he can play on the left-hand side to balance Bukayo Saka, and all of a sudden Arsenal has real threat from both flanks. No disrespect to Martinelli and Trossard, but certainly I think Eze is a creative upgrade on that. He can also play through the middle if you want to drop Odegaard, drop a little bit deeper, whatever it wants. It provides so much option for Mikel Arteta in terms of how he can line up. And I think, kind of given how close it was to leaving or signing for another club, as it happens, Spurs, just to make it all the more spicy. This is long overdue, but a good bit of business from Arsenal.
That's the word, isn't it, Frank? Upgrade.
Yes, it is, but do you know what? I wonder, because Shaka alluded it. You know, when you have somebody like Eze, you have a possibility to have Eze. Yeah, do you go for it, 68 millions, when you already have Martinelli, Eze, and some others like Madueke, for example, can play also on that side? I don't know why you really need him. If it's not to also, on top of, you know, having another talented player, to upset Spurs. You know, I want to believe as well that it's a big amount of money to just upset your biggest enemy. But do you
Frank,
really need
what's wrong with everyone?
to win?
Right, you're just saying they're getting Eze because they can to annoy Spurs. That's ridiculous. We learned obviously that Kai Havertz is injured. Eze is not done and done at Spurs. They've come in, they've swooped in, they've got a brilliant player, one of the best in the Premier League last season. Yet you're just saying they're signing him out of spite.
No. I'm not saying, and I'm not judging Eze about his, and I'm not saying that he's not bigger or stronger or better than the others. But I don't think Arsenal needs that kind of player to win the title because they already have players for that. They already have 3 players on that side that I just named: Madueke, Trossard, and Martinelli. And I really think that it has nothing to do with Havertz's injury. Because Havertz doesn't play on the left side, and I think the only room left for Eze is the left side. unless Gutierrez is not good enough, unless, I don't know, Saka got injured, unless the three in the middle of the park get injured. Otherwise, Eze can only play on the left side.
Yeah, but Frank,
so you have four players.
Frank, you name those players, yeah? You name Madueke, obviously, Trossard, Martinelli. If you've got the four of them lined up, who are you picking first? You're picking Eze, aren't you, first?
Yes,
so
but you already
that's
spent
where
lots
we're
of money. Yeah, but for me, 68 million for Eze, I'm not sure they need it. They need him. And again, you have to find also, don't forget that, the balance of the locker room. If you bring Eze, what do you do with Martinelli, Trossard and Madueke that you just bought? People who cannot play because that guy comes. And you really have to take care of everything. He's not only adding numbers of players just for the sake of it. Yeah, even if the one that you are taking the last is more talented than the others. That's other things in perspective that you have to check out. And that's what I think about it. I'm not sure Eze can be the X factor for Arsenal to win the Premier League. He can, but he can create also troubles.
The only thing I'll say here is maybe to the point and that Frank maybe is alluding to, is the timing of it is odd. In that, using your example, if we talk about all the signings that Arsenal made this summer and line them up in terms of a priority and who you think is the greatest need, you sign Gyökeres first. Mm-hmm. I know he wasn't. Arsenal were signing all kinds of players before him, but that's been a need that Arsenal has not addressed for many a year. So you do that first, and then, in my opinion, again, if you've got all your targets lined up, my second bit of business is Eze, and now we're not having this conversation about Madueke or anybody else. I just feel Eze is a better player than the lot, and you add to it, and it just feels kind of odd to the concern that's being expressed that we get to mid-August, a Kai Havertz injury, for Arsenal to sign probably the most talented, certainly midfielder in English football available this window. That's available, and so that for me is a kind of weird bit to this. But just in terms of talent, pound for pound, what Eze brings, I continue to believe that this is an outstanding signing.
If you're Arsenal and you've got the money, this is a no-brainer for me. Mm. I mean, I get where Frank's coming from, but I think when you're signing somebody with his talent, that goes out the window. You know, you want to take the next step to win the Premier League. Yeah. Then signing Eze, and if you don't sign Eze and you're still relying on Trossard, Martinelli, whoever you want, Madueke, who even at Chelsea wasn't a regular starter, then that doesn't get you closer to the Premier League. Eze gets you closer to the Premier League. And when you were saying about the coup, that's kind of what threw me. I'm like, coup? I thought Arsenal was absolutely the destination for this guy. And you were talking about Spurs coming in, and I'm like, I don't see this.
Stevie, we didn't pick it from the sky. He was going to Spurs. Spurs, according to reports, said don't deal with Palace, that he could play tomorrow in the Conference League playoffs, and after that he was going to be a Spurs player.
There's a little sentence in football that everybody who's involved in it, it's never done until it's done.
No, absolutely.
Ever done until
absolutely.
It's done.
But you're talking
and
as if
I
plucked from the sky. All of a sudden, Spurs. No, that was never going to happen. It was going to happen. He was going to be a Spurs player at the weekend. He said goodbye to everyone. Arsenal have come in. They've hijacked the deal.
Well, and what they me if I didn't believe it then.
All right. Well,
I must be on an island then. Because as far as I was concerned, if Arsenal had the money, he was always going to end up at Arsenal. So I didn't believe what you were talking about.
He wasn't always going to end up at Arsenal, but that's not the debate.
Forget that.
Right, the debate here is right.
100%, this makes them better.
Absolutely.
100%.
And what does it mean to the title now?
We knew it was going to be close, but Liverpool were clearly favourites, right?
Yes.
Because of last year and because of the signings. But with the signing of Eze, plus you look at, I know we talk about it's really early to tell and blah, 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 but the truth is it's going to take Liverpool a little time to get in the swing of things and be smooth and get everybody going in the same direction. So this absolutely makes Arsenal a little bit closer to Liverpool. So, yeah, if it was going to be tight before, it's absolutely going to go to the wire, 100%.
Frank, what have you got to say?
I just want to come back to the, if you have a chance to have Eze, this is not a brainer. I want to take the example of what happened last season to Real Madrid. If you have Mbappe, the possibility to have Mbappe, it's a no-brainer. We all agree. If you can have Mbappe, it's better. Was it better last season with Mbappe at Real Madrid? We won everything last season. They had Mbappe. He changed everything in the shape of the team. He put a little bit of tension in between the players. And we saw Real Madrid winning nothing.
I suppose the counter-argument to that Frank, is that Arsenal have been finished second for the last 3 years. Real Madrid had won the Champions League. They'd won La Liga before Kylian Mbappe arrived. It's not as if Arsenal are all set sail and they're counting all their trophies they're winning every season. They're looking at someone that is going to make the difference, and that's what they believe Eze will do.
I hope they're going to achieve that, but it doesn't mean they cannot finish third. You know what I mean? They finish second, they're going to finish third.
Frank,
but
why do you hate
understand
Eze?
what you're saying, but I don't.
Just
It's not
as he didn't
Eze.
give you a
The problem is
shirt.
not Eze. It's not. No, the problem is not Eze. Of course, I love Eze. I love the player. You cannot even imagine. And if I can get Eze in my team, I will get him. But it's not a problem of Eze. It's the amount of players that you are getting in the same position and the tension you can create. Again, it's a balance. You have the perfect image of, oh, you get the best player and it's going to work.
Frank,
No, it's not working like that.
Frank, the ones they've got have shown us that with those players, they're not going to win the Premier League. Those players that you're talking about have all had their chance. They've all had 2, maybe 3 seasons to get Arsenal over the line, and they haven't been able to do it. So when a guy like Eze becomes available
Stevie,
and you've got the money, absolutely you go and get him. That's why it's a
Stevie,
no-brainer.
You are simplifying the conclusion of it. I mean, if Arsenal didn't win the Premier League last season, it's not because of Martinelli, Trossard, who I don't know, and those two who play on the left. And because Eze wasn't there, because they had Odegaard not in the right level, Saka was injured, they lost also players from injury like Gabriel. That's other things. And it's not because you have Eze on top of 3 other players that you're going to win the Premier League. So that's football, and we all know football.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm saying.
To win the league or not win the league, it takes a lot of things. And to not win it, it takes certain pieces not to work. And you cannot argue that the left-hand side going forward for Arsenal last year did not work. All of those games they drew, all of those games they couldn't score goals was because Martinelli and Trossard and whoever else was playing on the left-hand side wasn't producing. So, yeah, I agree that it's not just one thing. Well, it's not just. It's never just one thing.
I thought they were just lacking strikers last season. We say that they didn't win the Champions, the Premier League, because they didn't have a striker. I didn't know it was Martinelli and Trossard's mistakes or fault.
But Frank, when Liverpool were bringing all these faces, you weren't going, oh, don't bring in Wirtz. He's going to upset the apple cart. He's going to upset the flow of the team. Yet for some reason, Eze, who obviously can play on the left, but also he can play, for example, in Odegaard's position as well. This is a versatile player you're bringing in that adds so much more, isn't it?
No, I agree. And it's not because I would hate Eze or Arsenal. I'm not, and I have no problem with that, you know. No. Or I would love Liverpool. No, that's not the thing. Liverpool, they bought some players and they managed to deal. But I always said, you know, that when Liverpool they signed Wirtz, I don't know what you call him, or some others, they didn't pay attention to what's going on, what can go on in the middle of the park. Putting Szoboszlai on the bench or some others where the good players last season could be an issue. It's always something that I'm questioning. I'm not saying they're going to be wrong. I'm not saying that I am right. But it's something I'm questioning because that's the main thing, being able to balance the dressing room. Mourinho was the best at it at a certain time. He was the best at it. Even the substitute, they were happy to have Mourinho. So that was the key for him to the success.
Your boy's a Spurs fan, Shaq. You must be happy.
Not right now, no.
You'd be so frustrated.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And to all the conversation about Eze joining Arsenal and what that means or not, you have to look at Spurs. The other side of that same coin is Spurs and how they allowed this. And now the rumour, the speculation is that Crystal Palace wanted to keep him to play in this Champions League, Europa League qualifier,
Conference
League qualifier
thing
on Thursday, which is fine. But if that's the agreement, then you sign that he's our player, but on the conclusion of that game, on the final whistle, you sign something, kind of preempting that. You don't
just get it done in June.
But whichever way, you don't just sit back and say, okay, no problem. We'll just wait here. I mean, there are far too many examples in this game of players being snatched away from a prospective club at the last minute. I mean, it's amateurish from a very well-run football club. Now, there's a lot of things you could say about Spurs, about their lack of titles, about any number of things. The one thing you cannot is that Spurs is poorly run. But this is as amateur a mistake from them as you could see.
Frank, as a famous man once said, it's not done until it's done.
You can't even say it.
Good.
I was being nice to you. It was difficult to get out.
Good luck. No. Good luck. Wait and see. And really, again, I wish Eze will make the difference, really.
All right.
Don't
Don't backtrack 15 minutes, have a go at it. Do you know what it was when he was at Wembley? He went to speak to Nedum and not Frank.
Oh, so that was it.
Frank's ego very much bruised.
That's it.
I won the World Cup, don't you know?